This is the Outsource Accelerator Podcast, exploring business and outsourcing mastery. Let's do it. Hi, and welcome back to another episode. This is episode 13, lucky number 13, some people say. Episode 13 of the Outsource Accelerator Podcast. My name is Derek Gallimore, and I'm joined by my host, Arnold San Miguel. Okay, today we are talking about why outsource to the Philippines. All right, so we go through some key points there and points that I'm really keen to drive home with you, the listener. It is a great destination. So hope you enjoy this. If you want any show notes, if you want any information, then go to our website, and it is outsourceaccelerator.com/podcast/episode 13. Hey Arnold, how are you?
Hi Derek. I'm doing great.
Great, good. Okay, so today we're going to talk about why the Philippines. Okay, so we are really into outsourcing. I recommend everyone should build a business with some outsourcing within the structure. But specifically, I really back the Philippines, and that is for good reason. Okay, and we're going to outline 7 reasons here. There are a lot of other countries you can outsource to. A lot of them are fantastic, and if nothing else, I just want to support outsourcing generally. But I think the Philippines has some great advantages. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to start with number 1. So it's basically the scale, the size of Philippines. It's massive. So it's got a population of about 110 million people, and of that, they're producing about 500,000 graduates, university graduates a year. Okay, and so that's a lot of people looking for jobs, and still the vast majority of the country is earning very low salaries, but they're getting educated, they're getting graduate qualifications, and there's 500,000 new young grads entering the market every year. Adding to that is the sheer size of the young population. I think it is one of the youngest countries in the world. There's a lot of young people, a very high proportion of working age population compared to a lot of the Western countries where there's negative growth rates and a very aging population. So there's a lot to look forward to there. Anyway, moving on. What have you got for number 2, Arnold?
For number 2 in the BPO industry, which has been around for about 25 years or so, we have over 700 BPO companies spread across more than 15 cities in the Philippines. So again, I just want to highlight that these are BPO companies. We also have to take into consideration the freelancers who just prefers to work at home, and certain individuals who takes full-time office work but part-time freelancers. So add these all up, you have a very, very large talent pool to access to.
That's true, yeah. And the BPO companies obviously range between, I don't know, do you know how big some of the biggest BPO companies are? How many staff would they have?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest employs more than 20,000 just in the Philippines alone.
So these are pretty big companies, and obviously then down to very small BPOs. Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, these are basically the titans in the BPO industry. And then there are a lot that recently, were established that provide niche services.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got a massive range there. And the BPO industry now employs about 1 million people within the Philippines. And they're projecting great growth rates. Just have a look at our news hub for more information on that. But, there's certainly a lot of elasticity within the population in the market to grow that significantly. So it's a big established market.
Yep, it's very interesting. And number 3 is actually, the rise of several BPO parks and business hubs in and out of Metro Manila, which is the capital of the Philippines. It basically means more affordable options to future clients because people are getting encouraged to set up their own BPO contact center at a place wherein the minimum wage might be a bit different.
Absolutely, yeah. And because BPO has taken off, there's more and more of these very specialized business parks, and there are companies like Google here and whatever. All of the most significant tech companies have hubs here, and they need very high specification communications, safety, fail safes, and the Philippines is able to provide these things. And as the tide rises, then also does the average level and standards of all of these offices. So it's really getting exciting in terms of the business parks and the options out there.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And so number 4 is the high English literacy rate. So it's officially not the highest. The highest is Singapore, but as we all know, Singapore is a very small country, but B, a very expensive country. So the Philippines does have a very high English literacy rate, and that is a massive boon. It's a little bit controversial because they need to support their language, but most people now are brought up on a diet of English. I don't know if you can sort of add to this, Arnold, but there's huge prevalence of US media, social media, TV, music, and things like that. Yeah.
Yep. Local TV channels always speaks in English most of the time, as well as the books that we get from our high school or college institutions.
Yeah, most of the newspapers and things as well. Yeah, and all of the street signs as well. Yeah, and it even trickles down to most everyone speaks a very high level of English, including taxi drivers and labor workers and things. So it's
that is correct.
Incredible. Okay, and then sort of adjacent to that is that number 5 is that the Philippines has a highly westernized culture. More so than any other of Asia, more so than any other non-English speaking country, I would propose. The culture is very closely aligned to, in inverted commas, the West. Everything from the language to the hospitality and friendly attitude of the people. But then also, it's worth noting, not wanting to get too political here, but Christianity was brought into the country by the Spanish about 500 years ago. And I believe also it is the only Christian dominant country in the West, and it is about 90% Christian here. So I want to remain completely agnostic in that regard, but having had the Christianity for 500 years does create cultural alignment, and that, together with the English, it really is a very culturally aligned country. And why does that matter? It matters because if they are relating to your clients, if you are relating to them and working together directly, then all of these things really do have a massive impact. Okay, and moving right along from that topic. So the Philippines, and maybe because of the English and the cultural alignment, it is the leading provider of outsourced voice-related services. India is another big outsourcing capital of the world, but they very much specialize more in IT, in back-end services. Ever since international phone lines became affordable, the Philippines led the way in partnership or in support of the US companies and having voice-related services. So that's obviously all of your call centers, but everything beyond that as well. And what have you got, Arnold, for number 7?
Yeah, number 7 is the support from the government. is very strong in this industry, from training to technological needs. I think certain specific tax exemptions were created as well to support this drive. Now, this actually relates to number three, wherein I mentioned the rise of several BPO parks and businesses. It's mainly because the local municipalities are highly supporting this drive. It gives them the opportunity to employ people within their town,
Right.
to work nearby.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I imagine all of the provinces and towns and across the 7,000 islands are all seeing BPO as a fantastic opportunity to employ their local community. Yeah,
Yep.
that's good. And interestingly as well, there's the Clark, what used to be the Clark Air Force Base, which is probably 2 hours drive from Manila. Used to be a massive US Air Force base, and as the US left, then the government initiative was to turn it into a huge free port zone, which has incredible tax incentives, generally tax-free, and all of that is a huge outsourcing hub now. So there's huge initiatives being taken by the government to encourage easy outsourcing solutions for the world. So it's a win-win. Great. Thanks, Arnold. And
Thanks, Derek.
we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Hope you enjoyed that and got some information from that is of value. If you want any information from the show notes, go to our website. It is outsourceaccelerator.com/podcast/episode 13. See you next time.